This is it. This is the best Android smartphone you can buy right now. And if you want to know exactly why the Sony Xperia Z3, in my opinion, is the best smartphone right now, watch my full review. Let's damn it. As always, let's start with the design and the build quality and the buttons and ports to start with. Here we have the camera shutter, volume rocker, power button. Under the first flap on the right side we have nano SIM and micro SD card slot. At the top we have the microphone, headphone jack, and the second flap on the left side is for micro USB if you want to charge it. You can also use the magnetic port for the dock to charge it with, and here's the LAN hole key. As for the buttons, they aren't specifically clicky, but they provide enough haptic feedback for a good feel. The power button, in my opinion, is placed perfectly. Nothing to complain here. The good thing is we have double tap to wake. The bad thing is no option to make it sleep again, so you will have to use this one. But since the power button is so great placed, it is no issue at all. It is a bit too close to the volume rocker, as I said, but in daily life you don't notice it touching or feel. No problem. I would wish though for this to be above, so you won't have to bend that awkwardly. It would just be more convenient, but after all it is great. Another great thing about the sides here, as you can see, these awesome rounded curves all over the design here, and especially at the bottom, and those nice corners here, because with this it sits perfectly in your hand. The pinkability is amazing, and it's silly as it seems or sounds, it just is so nice to hold on for longer periods of time. And the device, yes, maybe is a little bit tall, but therefore it is so narrow and easy to hold on with all the nice curves, so holding for a longer period of time is no issue. The front and back are glass and flat. This comes with a few, I don't think it's this trade-off, but since it is flat and glass, it is almost floating on a flat surface. No issue for me at all, because yes, the sides are a bit slippery since they are so smooth, but therefore the back and front, since they are glass, are extremely grippy. As long as you don't have extremely greasy or sweaty hands, it just feels amazing to hold on to glass on both sides. The device itself, I thought at first, is a bit too lightweight and not substantial enough, but this feeling got away pretty quickly. I know to appreciate how light it is, and it doesn't feel cheap because it feels very premium with glass and this solid construction. There is no bending, no creaking, not even a rattling while shaking, and this is amazing. In terms of the build quality, up at the bottom here we have a little bit of light leakage, not on the display side, but due to the gap of the display and the chassis itself. It is like a millimeter and only noticeable if you are in a really dark room. No issue at all. There's also one noticeable thing. We have no gap on this side and a minimal gap on this side. You just notice it with your fingernail, it's not the same size. You can't stick anything in it or anything else. So I would have also wished for this to be curved over to the side. It would just made it fit perfectly in terms of feel, but it is no an issue at all. It just feels great after all. So the build quality is great. And one small thing I wanted to mention, we have a multicolor LED. And if we go to testing, you can see it. The LED is up top here. Not the best position after all, but still okay. Not obtrusive or so, but I would have wished for it to be at the bottom, in the middle, maybe like on Nexus device, because this is the perfect placement. But it is multi-LED, it is manageable. Last thing I wanted to mention is the vibration motor. It is stronger as on most other devices, and this is quite nice since most of the devices right now are more doing like a rattling, but this is actually vibrating. So in overall, the in-hand feel is amazing. Build quality is amazing. It just, everything is pretty much perfectly. The buttons, the flaps are there. I'm not the biggest fan of flaps, but to keep it water and dust proof, it had to be. The back flap feels amazing. So in overall, not just one of the best looking devices, but just in terms of hand and feel and everything else, the design is pretty much perfect in my opinion. Same as on the Z2 from just a couple of months ago. We have a 1080p screen with 5.2 inches and a PPI of 424. This means text is sharp and crisp, not more than the competition after all. And if you have seen maybe some 2K displays, I would definitely prefer this one. In terms of the whites, if we quickly check them here, they are slightly cold and also bluish. Maybe this is an issue for some people, not for me, because I really like cold and bluish white. But no issue here at all. We have a white balance option, so you can adjust the white to a warmer or colder, just whatever you prefer. In terms of blacks, the device is very solid. The black is very deep, deeper than, for example, on the One Plus, but therefore it also is again slightly bluish. You won't be able to tell though just looking at these pictures. You need a complete black picture to even notice that. In terms of the colors, and you can maybe see this already, they are very saturated. And I would even say oversaturated, slightly overblown, and therefore not really accurate. If that's an issue for you, it could be. For me, it wasn't at all, because the colors look so vivid, so poppy, and just nice to look at. For me, this is no issue, but if you need something accurate, then maybe not. In terms of the viewing angles, I was very happy, surprised, because usually Sony devices had a little bit of an issue, and the Z1 from last year had, of course, but here absolutely stable, nothing else to say. And a big plus on this device is the touch responsiveness. First of all, the touch panel is very precise. Wherever you hit exactly that. No mishits or anything else. And the best thing is, sorry, it is super responsive. It is super fast and does everything on an instant. There is no delay, and this is especially helpful if you are a tap typer and you need fast typing. Every hit will be recognized and without any delay, so this makes easy fast typing so convenient. There is also an option here in the settings which is for image enhancing. I personally can't really recommend it though. We have X Reality for mobile and the super vivid mode, but all it does is blow up the colors even more, make it even more unnatural. For a movie, maybe that's not even that bad, but personally I don't think it's necessary, since the colors are very deep and oversaturated after all. So in overall, this display is an absolute joy. They've done pretty much the best they could do. There is a slight, and maybe you will be able to notice it, there is a slight tint on the sides here, a very small one on both sides, where the display gets a little bit dimmed. It has the biggest brightness up here, so you will notice a slight diminishing of the white here, but not really noticeable. And maybe only if you read an ebook, then you will notice it, but otherwise you won't. So I would even say this is the best display I've reviewed so far in overall. We already covered the fantastic display, but what about the sound? Can it compete with it? And just a little demo, and then I will talk about it. So what are my thoughts on the sound? The maximum volume is quite nice. It could maybe like 10% higher or so, but it is on one M8 level, I would say, pretty close to it. We have bass, which is nice. It even makes the front and back vibrate. And if you are using your device while listening to music, you will even feel this vibration. It is a bit odd, but something you can get used to. No issues at all. The mids and the treble are very nice. They are very in your face, very natural and very rich. The overall sound experience is just very nice. And we have stereo front-facing speakers. This means the sound stage is really great, especially on games, since the sound is coming exactly towards you. You can't block it or anything. We also have some enhancing features, which we can check right here. In the audio settings, we have Clear Audio Plus, which makes the sound more coming out of the display. And I really prefer this one. I even have it activated. But if you want to, you have your equalizer options and can adjust it to your liking. The bad thing maybe here is it is for the headphone and the speakers, which I think won't be the same settings, because you won't set up your headphones like you will with your speakers. But still, the sound is great, very rich, very natural, very loud. So absolutely satisfied with that. There are two bugs though I have to mention, because if you check the sound options and go into the notification sound and check one, you can see these are quite loud, but the issue is once you get an actual notification, this volume is maybe just the half of it. It seems to be a bug that already the Z2 had, but they didn't fix it there, and I'm not sure if they will fix it on here. Maybe they don't see it as an issue, but I missed a lot of notifications just because I didn't hear them. The other thing is on YouTube or on music, if you're listening to music via a Bluetooth headphone, and you get a notification, it always puts the sound into the background. It fades away. But once the notification is gone, the sound doesn't go up anymore. Even if you turn up the volume, you have to exit and enter the app again. I had this a few times, like 5 times, and only on Bluetooth so much as I know. never on the speakers. I wanted to mention this. So in overall, the speakers are fantastic, they are loud, they are rich, they sound just great, and the little bug with the notification is there, but still, after the 1M8, I think this is the best speaker available. Usually the performance is something I really like to talk a lot about because it's so important, but all the devices right now are already so convincing in terms of performance, so you don't really have to compare too much. But in this case, it is a little bit different because the device is super zippy. As you can see, the app switching is insanely fast. You can do whatever you want to in such a fast manner, and everything you hit, it will apply on an instant. And this is something really nice because the device, not just the apps are all smooth. If you go into an app, if you can see here, it is super buttery smooth and there is almost never any lag. But then again, and on all the other devices, it is also not. But the good thing here is, as you can see, everything, the touch response is just so great and everything is fast. If we check the PDF times real quick, the PDF rendering, I have to say it needs a little bit time to render, but once the page is rendered, as you can see, it is buttery smooth. As you can see here, this is super smooth, but for some reason I think the rendering times, as you can see here, are a little bit slower than usual. I'm not really sure why that is, but in overall the device is super fast. Games are also fine, no issues here at all, pretty much the same level as on any other Snapdragon 800 or 801 device. The Sony skin in this case is no performance issue at all. It doesn't hinder the performance of the device at all, like maybe TouchWiz devices do. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but this one here is fast as stock. And I really mean fast as stock because the OnePlus is pretty much running OnePlus or the Nexus 8. And I would even say due to the lower touch response to the faster one, this device feels even more zippy because I don't know, but app access times are just insanely quick and it makes a real difference. So it is the best consistent performance I've seen so far. But under heavy load, the device on the left side on the back here will get a little bit warmer than most other devices. You will notice it especially while gaming. I didn't have any issues so far with heat, but it will get quite warm. And about the RAM, the good thing here is we have 3 GB of RAM and I'm usually at about 1 GB and 100 megabytes left of free space. So multitasking with 3 GB is awesome because I can have easily 10 or more apps open without any reloading. So in overall, the performance is not just fast and smooth, it is also very snappy, very zippy and also consistent. And great job here, Sony, because you made an UI that is absolutely not bothering the performance and is definitely on stock level. Performance should never be an issue on recent devices, but what about battery life? The first thing here I have to say, a full charge needs at least 2 hours and 40 minutes and maybe even almost 3 hours. The issue here is the first 90% take up like 2 hours and the last 10% like almost an hour again because the charging there slows down quite dramatically. So keep this in mind. But other stats here, 1 hour of 720p YouTube streaming at 60% brightness takes up about 22%. This sounds high and for some reason it is. Maybe it is an issue of YouTube or not, because when I streamed the video, 21 minutes of a TV show at 11 out of 15 brightness took up just 4 to 5%. And this comes closer to what I'm seeing in normal use, because 1 hour of normal use takes up between 9 and 12%. I was usually at 10 to 12%. Maybe if you are doing ebooks or something like that, you could get even lower, but the general thing, 12%. If you are doing Twitter, Google+, browsing the web, this is normal use case for me. There's also a stamina mode. I don't really see it as necessary since the device has such amazing battery life. But if you need it, why not? It turns down some things to prolong the battery life. I don't think it's necessary, but after all. But in overall, the battery life is amazing. I could get, I think if I do it on Wi-Fi over 1 day, I could get almost 8 hours of screen on time, I think. And on a usual day, 5 or 6 hours shouldn't be a problem at all. It is pretty much exactly, almost exactly on 1+1 level. And in some terms, I would even take it above. So in overall, with 3100 milliamps, this is definitely the best battery performing device I've seen so far, and maybe even beats the OnePlus, which beats pretty much all the other devices right now. We went over the whole hardware, and the only thing that could break this device still is the software. Does it do so? In my opinion, not, because a lot of people like stock Android, and don't like the Sony UI. I don't get really why, because maybe it doesn't look like stock Android, but just in form and functionality, it is pretty much stock Android. Everything is where you would expect it on a stock Android ROM. It just doesn't look like it. Sound has all the sound options and display has all the display options. The only thing that is different here is maybe you have a lot of Sony apps and you have some bloat apps. Some can be uninstalled, some can't. Maybe that's an issue for you. It really isn't for me, since you just don't have to use them. This means we have no gimmicky features at all. The only thing is maybe down to personalization. You have themes which you can download, and you have quick settings tiles which are customizable. But that's pretty much it. Anything else is almost stock, and there are a few things even missing I will talk later about. But since we don't have anything fancy, we also don't have anything really useful. No multi-window or something. We have floating apps. Of course, yes. But is that really something really useful? I don't think so. It is a nice bonus, but that's pretty much it. And I will even deactivate it once I won't use it. The customization is down mostly to two things: audio enhancement in the audio settings and video enhancement in the display settings. This is pretty much all you will get, because the approach of Sony's UI is very clean and minimalistic, nothing fancy. They don't even try to do this. They want to give you a pretty stock, minimalistic, but therefore fast experience. There are a few things missing though. What I'm missing pretty bad are lock screen targets. I don't have anything like this here. I don't have quiet hours. A lot of ROMs use these days. I would really wish to have this. Also, no customizable navbar. You get these three buttons. They are not changeable at all. Maybe the design a little bit with themes, but that's pretty much it. And I would also like to see quick pull down, so I don't have to use two fingers. But the good thing is, once I pull it down, I can switch over. This is okay, but still, the software itself is a bit too limited almost. But if you're fine with stock Android, and stock Android itself does all you need, then the Sony UI will serve you very well. For me, as a customer user, it's a little bit limited, but it serves a very good job. It is fast, it is fluid, it doesn't hinder the performance. This is really nice. One thing you should maybe remember: the length of the support of this device is questionable due to Sony's 6-month release cycle. So keep this in mind. You never know how long this will be, the flagship. But in overall, the software is fast, clean, and does everything you should need from a stock Android device. So I'm absolutely happy with it. Next thing on the list would be the XDA qualities. We don't have a lot of things yet, since the device is brand new and just needs a little bit more time. We have root, we have a custom recovery. As you can see, we have a sound mod, we have a patch here and different kernel. And on this side, we have an experimental CM11. That's pretty much all of it right now. Sony itself wants to be more developer friendly recently, and they even think about putting stock Android on this device, which is quite a nice thing. One less so amazing thing though is the bootloader issue. Maybe you know it if you already are interested in this device and checked it, because the issue is following. Once you unlock the bootloader, you will get a few drawbacks. The first big thing is the low light performance of the camera will be degraded quite heavy, since I saw from pictures. The next thing you will lose is the Bravia engine, Miracast and Sony Entertainment Media. Personally, the last three things aren't an issue for me. I never used Miracast, I won't use Sony Entertainment Media, and the Bravia engine is one thing I would have disabled anyways. So in the end, it will be the low light camera performance that could be an issue for you. It is not enough for me to be a deal breaker yet, since I don't use the camera in low light so much. And maybe things will change. I think we need a little bit more time to check what happens. Maybe Sony will get it back or not. So in the end, maybe it is not the best device for hardcore modders. Maybe for some people who don't even want to bootload or unlock anyway, so then it is no issue at all. But I wanted to mention it. The camera seems to be one of the highlights here on this device, but in the end I have to say I am slightly disappointed, because it is very good but just not as great as I would have expected it to be. The one on the front is a 2.2 megapixel camera, slightly washed out pictures, not really sharp, not very detailed, but it gets the job done for a selfie here and there and maybe a video conference call. The one on the back though has a fairly good auto mode, very detailed but slightly less vibrant than live colors. Also not extraordinary sharp at any time. It is noisy after a double tap to zoom. You will notice this a lot of times. but zoomed out the pictures look really great. The focus and shutter speeds are good, not instant though. Therefore you have very rare miss shots and the picture quality itself is very consistent all the time. The low light performance is good, especially with a flash. It picks up a lot of light, but as all the other pictures, they are not very sharp and not that detailed anymore though. Video quality is really good, very smooth, very good sharpness, but not detailed and slightly jaggy on some diagonal lines. So sometimes this is definitely noticeable. The autofocus works quite well and fast, is responsive and also quite reliable, so the video qualities are definitely better than the picture taking qualities. The manual mode gives you more control like brightness, white balance and ISO, but not that much after all in the end though. Many other more or less useful features are downloadable or accessible through the settings menu. If you want to use them, I don't think they are that useful after all. So in the end, the camera is more for people who want consistent quality shots than an instant shooter. But in the end, just think about it. It is not the best camera out there, but still among the very best at the top. Since the main part of this review already was quite long, but I hope so also quite detailed, I'm trying to keep it a bit more compact here and get to the recap. Design and build quality, absolutely flawless, fine, it feels great. It is so well and smart designed, nothing to complain here, absolutely top notch. In terms of the display, I'm also very happy. It is maybe not a perfect display, but right now still I think is the best display I've seen so far, or at least what I have reviewed. In terms of the sound, I'm putting it maybe on the same level as on the M8. Maybe it isn't, I haven't used M8 long enough, but I'm definitely more than impressed with the sound in overall. Performance is absolutely the same thing. Super snappy, and it is not just smooth and fast, but it's the responsiveness of the touchscreen that makes up for so much. The device just feels so lightweight and fast in app switching and everything you do. It really is the snappiest device I've used so far, and this is pretty impressive if you consider the software, because the software is a very themed like stock Android. It doesn't offer you anything fancy though. This is a bit of an issue because it is quite limited, but what it offers, which is practically on stock Android level, is amazing. It doesn't slow down the device at all. The device has no issue with the Sony UI and it is on stock level. And then there's also the battery life. The battery life is killer. I'm pretty sure if you get to beat this on one day, you must be not just a power user, you must be a hardcore power user. I'm even seeing myself getting on a normal day-to-day basis to get 2 full days out of it. No problem here at all. In terms of the XDA qualities, this is something to definitely consider. There is not much yet out, and I'm not sure how much will get out due to the bootloader issue that degrades the camera performance and all. So you have to consider this. But since we are talking already about the camera, it is not as impressive as I thought. It is especially not as sharp as I would have expected from 20.7 megapixels. I definitely expected more details. Don't get me wrong, the camera is great and amongst the maybe 5 best out there, but not the best, because the OnePlus One in my side-by-side comparison was definitely more true to life in terms of colors. They seemed more vivid, they seemed a bit dull on the Xperia Z3, and also the camera was not as sharp as on the OnePlus. Video was pretty much on the same terms, so I would call it still a very good camera, but not as impressive as I would have wished for. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know, is it worth upgrading to the Z3 from the Z2? And at least in my opinion, I have to say there is so much more improved on the Z3 than I would have expected in just those 4 or 5 months, because the device feels not just one level, not just 2, at least 3 levels better in the hand, because it doesn't seem as blocky and clunky anymore as the Z2. It looks so much better and it feels so much better. It also feels so much more compact. The display is better, the sound is rich, louder, the battery life is better, and the camera is practically on the same time. So you have to decide for yourself, if you don't have the Z2 or if an upgrade doesn't cost you as much, I would definitely go for the Z3 in overall. It is time to answer my last 2 questions. Would I recommend it and would I buy it? Would I recommend it? And here I have to say yes, absolutely. Especially, and not just if, especially if you want a great camera, a great display, a premium, solid, amazing feel in the hand, a super nice, lightweight UI, then this device is perfect for you. There's nothing really wrong with it. And one user on Google Plus asked me when I said nothing is wrong with this device, he asked, really nothing? And thinking back, I don't see anything wrong. I can't find it. I just don't know. If there would be one thing maybe to consider, it is the bootloader issue and the XDA qualities that just aren't on the Nexus level. But a real weakness, I don't see it. So this brings me to my last question: would I buy it? And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait until the Nexus is getting released so I know what awaits me. If it's QHD and 5.2, then I would maybe consider it just because of the custom ROM ability and everything. But if it brings nothing special to the table and I have to take compromises, then I think I'm going to the Z3 once it gets a bit close to 500 euros right now, because the Z3 is a premium solid and the best the Sony has to offer, and this time they delivered. But the Nexus line was always a line of compromises. Either it's the battery, which I'm pretty sure will not be the greatest even this time, and also the camera won't be the best. About in-hand feel, I think since it's a Motorola, it will be better if it's the 5.2 inch device. If it's the 5.9, I don't think so. And then there's also still the Note 4 that's coming. I'm really wanting to try because of the S Pen and everything else that is so great. The AMOLED panel, I want to see it in action. But I still think coming from a OnePlus One with 5.5 inches, the 5.2 inch form factor is, I think, my thing, because I can use it absolutely flawless without any issues with one hand. I can do this with 5.5 as well, but just not as comfortable and convenient. So in the end, I think at the end of the year, I will still be with the Z3. This was my review of the Sony Xperia Z3. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and reshare this video. And if you maybe want to support my channel and appreciate my work, you could also donate. If you don't want to, fine with me, but I just wanted to say it's in the description below. Otherwise, all I have to say is until next time, bye. I'll be back.